It's important to sit in the grief and to process it and to move on. I'm super thankful for what I learnt, for what church and that community gave me at the time. I think I'm healed from it now. But it was important for me to sit in it. It was also important for me to talk about it with professionals, and talk about it with friends, talk about it with family, talk about it with people that
talk about it with professionals.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, because they give you the tools, right? They give you tools that you just don't know about. But then like when you meet people like us and they've been through it, and you can do and it's not reliving the trauma, it's just like, it's almost a celebration of, look at us. Look how far we've come.
Yep.
We're out there.
Queerfully Made Podcast acknowledges and recognises the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders as Australia's first people and the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we create and share. It is an honour to share stories through this podcast on the lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nations, a culture rich with tens of thousands of years of storytelling. We pay our respects to their elders past and present. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening to this podcast.
Queerfully made. Ooh yeah. Queerfully made. God, hey. Queerfully made. Come on now. Queerfully made.
Well, welcome back to Queerfully Made Podcast, the podcast where we talk about all things at the intersection of faith and sexuality. My name's Aaron. I'm a gay man from Melbourne and ex-pastor in the Pentecostal movement.
And my name's Ben, a queer man from Melbourne. Well, actually all around the place. But Melbourne is home now. Let's just keep it simple and say Melbourne is home now.
Yeah. We're in our new studio.
New digs.
We don't have a table to hide behind.
I know, this is very weird. I'm feeling
I don't know how to sit. What do I do with my hands?
What do I do with my hands?
I had hands before, but now I'm really... I've always had them.
Feeling very exposed, Like people can see more of us, but
they can.
This has got to be a good thing.
I think so.
Yeah, this feels correct.
More of us.
More of us, which is what people have been asking for.
They have. They have. That's why we're here today.
That's why we're here. Yeah. We're talking about, so we put it out online. We were like, if you guys want to get to know us, what are some questions that you would ask?
Yeah.
So we put that out there, a bit of a ask me anything.
Yeah.
But instead of answering online and posting that on our socials, we thought we'd bring it into the studio.
Yeah. And you guys asked questions. Some of them were shallow, which we love. We love those shallow questions, and then some of them got a little bit deep, and some of them are terrifying.
Some of them were X-rated that we won't be sharing.
None of those.
And won't be going into.
Yeah.
But we love that people have been asking. So
yeah.
And we're going to skip past some of the standard boring questions. No one asked those, thank goodness. But the ones that, so what do you do?
Yeah.
Like where do you, what is your
Follow
9 to
our
5?
social medias, our personal social medias if you want to find that out.
100%. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask the first question that was submitted.
Go for it.
The first question was, what's one fun or weird thing that most people don't know about?
Okay, so a little bit nerdy, but I'm a bit of a Star Wars fan. And a little bit, I think...
Who's your favourite Star Wars character?
You can't ask me that.
What do you mean?
There's too many.
You don't have a favourite character?
I love them all equally. No, I couldn't pick. If I had to pick a favorite movie, I would say Return of the Jedi would probably be my favorite movie. Mm-hmm. But I grew up with all of these movies as a kid, and then of course we relaunched them all in, I think it was the year 2000. And we're up to episode 9 and the whole main storyline, and there's all these other movies that surround it. Yeah, you're shaking your head like you have no idea what I'm talking about.
I'm lost with episode 9. I had no idea we were up to episode 9.
Episode 9? Yeah, episode 9. Yep. So yeah.
What's the one with that guy, the long black hair guy? Kylo Ren, is that his
Kylo
name?
Ren, yes.
Is that episode 9?
Yes, Adam Driver, who plays Kylo Ren.
Oh, there you go. I'm up to date.
So he happens to be in 7, 8, and 9.
Oh, maybe I've just seen 7.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway.
Was there some homework for you to do?
My cousins were really into it, so I know a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm lost on it.
So I've won trivia before, Star Wars trivia.
So that's how deep you're into it.
That's how, yeah. Yep. So I want to go, there'll be different levels of where your fan sits, right?
Yep.
So I don't go to the movies dressed as any character or anything. Like I don't go that far. All right.
Okay.
But I have watched them all multiple times, and I'm deep into that universe. So that would be a fun, kind of weird, nerdy thing about me that most people wouldn't know.
Okay.
Heard it here first.
Okay, I like that. I like that. My fun, weird thing that most people that are in our audience wouldn't know. I couldn't think of something that most people don't know because I'm a bit of an open book. I overshare.
Okay.
It's my ADHD trait is that I just overshare.
People know too much about
People
you.
know too much about me, and that's a problem. But most people on our podcast probably don't know that I'm a musical theatre buff. I love musical theatre. I love going and seeing shows, but I also do a little bit of amateur theatre on the side.
Yeah.
And I was the lion in The Wizard of Oz.
Wow.
And I was Cogsworth in Beauty and the Beast.
There you go.
And I've played a bunch of other little roles here and there.
Codsworth?
Cogsworth. You don't know Beauty and the Beast?
Which one was...
You're not a Disney buff, are you?
Well, no, not as much
but
as
you
Star
are now that
Wars.
Star Wars is bought by Disney. But
That's right. Was he the clock?
The clock. I was the clock.
Yes.
And I had a massive dong that swung.
Of course he did.
Yeah. And then Belle's dad had to open my door and tinker with it. And I was like,
Oh
"Ooh."
my goodness.
There was a lot of sexual innuendo in that show.
there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go.
There you go. Musical theatre nerd.
We're slowly just going to get deeper and deeper with these questions, I feel like.
Yeah, I hope so. All right. So this one actually came from one on our Instagram. What has been the best meal that you have enjoyed in any establishment?
I find it hard to pick a best meal only because I love food.
Okay.
Like 5 years ago, I was 3 times the size I am now. No, that's a lie. I was
Wow, that's massive.
double my size and a bit more.
Wow.
So I was 130 something kilos.
What?
Yeah, I was pretty big. So I love food, and I still do. It's a vice. But at the moment, if you live near an El Jana, you have to try it.
Yes.
Have you had it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, the crispy box is my favorite thing at the moment. Their garlic dip, incredible. Their creamy gravy, incredible.
Life-changing. Yeah.
It's they're trying to take on the Maccas and the KFCs of the world, so they're doing like free delivery. Not free delivery. The same price you would pay in store, you get on the app and on Uber Eats.
Right.
So Maccas and KFC charge you like $3 or $4 more per item.
Wow, you really do love food.
Well, no, they've advertised this though.
Okay.
So they're like, yeah, we're trying to really.
We're going to compete.
We're trying to compete with the big players.
Yeah,
So-
wow.
And they're opening up stores here, there, and everywhere. I love them. Yeah. But
Okay.
apart from that, a carbonara, my favorite.
Loves
Anywhere.
carbonara.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh my gosh. I mean, Italian food is my favorite food. And there's so many great places, especially in Melbourne. Like we're in the foodie capital of Australia, which is crazy. And there's one place in Hardware Lane, Hardware Cafe, I think it's called.
Yeah. Hardware Society,
Maybe.
maybe.
And it's probably because when people like my friends and family that come to visit Melbourne, that's where I'll take them. That's one of those restaurants where I'll take them. So there's memories there.
Never
so
taken
I think,
me there, so.
Well, no.
Okay.
Next date night, we will. I'll take you
Next
and
planning
we'll go
night
to,
when we're planning stuff, we'll go
Exactly.
there.
We'll
I
go
love
there.
that. We had a question come in, which I really like this question. As hosts, what's the most surprising thing that a guest has shared with you?
I think I didn't know all of Anthony Van Brown's story, right? Because I hadn't finished reading the book before he came on the podcast.
Yes.
So I knew some of it, but not all of it. So I didn't know that he knew Cy Rogers. So some of the stuff that he shared about Cy, I was kind of like, oh, this is
just
this
how
is
connected
a little bit
Anthony was in
tea
that
spilling.
world.
Yeah, and how connected he was.
Yeah.
And how much of an influential figure he was in ACC at the time that it all happened. So I think yeah, those were some eye-opening moments for me when I think back to some of our guests.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you?
Mine has to be your episode. the mic drop of all episodes, I think. The moment where everyone was just like, what? Is when you go, and I went to prison.
Because I'm gay? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that'll thing.
The amount of messages I received from friends who were saying, you could have prepared me. Like, what do you mean Ben went to prison?
I need a warning on that episode or something.
A trigger warning for
this,
sure.
This episode contains...
And apart from that, and to be fair, it wasn't in the episode I was most shocked. It was when you told me when we were planning that episode. But I still acted shocked.
You did. You had a good surprise
it was still
face.
a surprise. Even the second time hearing it, I was just like, well, I still can't believe it.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I think when Max Drag Queen told us that they wouldn't want to win the crown... I was like, why wouldn't you want to win it?
Why wouldn't you?
They're like, no, I don't want the crown. No.
Yeah.
No, leave Lazy Susan with it. I was like, oh, wow. That's a surprise.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Why?
So that makes me think you're not going into like the new Down Under versus the world.
Probably not.
No,
Probably not going to be asked
want
back.
a crown. Why not go back?
Yeah. She had a shot. There could have been lots more. And I was conscious of like not asking her too much. I just wanted to hear more about the show and her on the show. But that wasn't why we were there.
I'm sure there's like some sort of NDA, and I didn't want to get her in trouble.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. Yeah,
but
I was like, maybe we get a tea spilling episode too. But
after the year's up, I think it's a year, and then they're allowed to start talking about it. Maybe it has been a year since they signed it. I don't know.
We'll get her to check with her lawyers.
Yeah, Max, just come back to us.
Max, we'd love to have
what you're allowed to tell us.
All right, so another question that came through. Aaron, if you could preach another sermon on any Bible story, what will it be?
Well,
any Bible story, or I guess any part of the Bible.
Like if I was to preach.
But if let's say that Marcy Painter called you up.
She asked me to come preach
and she said, yeah, I want you to come preach at Gateway. What would you preach on?
She might not ask me if I'd. No, I've thought about this a little bit. Like there's, if I was wanting to go like the queer side, like in the let's take a Bible story and apply a queer or gay lens to it. There's lots you could do that to.
Sure.
Like David and Jonathan's relationship. There's some sus moments in there, right? Like how close they were.
Yeah.
I wonder if some of those psalms, they're love songs.
They're love songs,
Even Paul, some of the stuff with Paul.
I mean, come on.
I reckon it was a flaming
homo.
But
always on the road, never settled down, you know.
Couldn't stay in the same place twice. Always writing letters.
Always writing letters.
No, I think I would. My sermon would have to be just debunking the clobber passages.
Okay.
Like that would, if I was to be a traveling preacher now, I'd be debunking. Like that would be my famous sermon.
Yeah.
I just think there's so much in it. There's so much to debunk and so much that people go, wow, if they actually just spent time looking into it, which people don't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'd be. We'll do a whole episode on debunking.
We'll do a whole episode on that. Yeah. So you're not at church now? It's a good question for both of us.
I am not regularly attending any church. If either Marcy's church or Rob Buckingham's church were closer, I would probably attend those. There are some gay affirming churches near me, but they're just not my style. Like, I'm a little slut for a Hillsong.
You need the energy.
I need the lights.
I need the lighting.
Jumping
I want the
around,
smoke
band.
machine.
I want it all, right?
Yeah. I want a good cafe there. I want You're still super high maintenance Christian.
Yeah. If it's not like I like that vibe.
Sure.
I love a good worship moment.
That's what we're used to.
Yeah, it's what I was brought up on. Like the evangelical charismatic stuff is really just my flavor.
Yeah.
And I've tried a couple of the other churches, just didn't get me going.
Yeah.
Which is church meant to get you going? I don't know.
But
But also I think that church done in rows where you look to one person to guide you and that person's meant to be the expert on everything. I just feel like that's a dangerous place to be. And if I had my time over, I don't know if I'd want to be the expert up the front preaching from a pulpit, guiding everyone's lives, because how can any one person be the expert in finances, family, sex, work life, like everything?
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah.
And I just think that if I had my time over, I'd probably do church more in circles rather than rows.
Sure.
And because we're all experts in our own place and we can all guide each other's spirituality and faith.
Yep.
So yeah, that's how I think I'd do. If I was to plant a church tomorrow, it'd be a circle-based church, but still Hillsong style.
Sure.
So how do you do the two?
Combine the two.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, it takes a village. Same. I think it would be like a lot of the conferences and stuff that I go to now that have those panels up on stage where you get their perspective, their perspective, their perspective.
I
like that
that
would be great format for church.
Yeah. Let's have people who don't agree with each other up there.
Yeah.
Disagreeing.
Absolutely.
And why do they disagree? Let's get some educated opinions on, okay, I believe in a literal 7-day creation, but you don't. You believe in evolution. Okay, let's bring them both. How does God do both? And, right? Yeah, I agree with you.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
What are we calling it?
We're planting a church.
Okay, I'm way too busy to be planting a church right now. Can I just? Yeah,
I think
it's good to have a future goal.
Yeah, I think I get murdered by several people in my life. Anthony Van Brown's always telling me I'm too busy. My fiance.
Your fiance would probably have something to say about it.
Like, what?
Yeah, no, jokes.
So we have a lot of people talking to us about your prison stint. Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of questions come in about it.
Okay.
I think to sum up like a general, because we don't want to go too long on that topic, but to sum up a general theme across them is before you went into prison, you were so your story basically was that you grew up in a family that weren't Christians, but you started attending church on your own volition.
Yep.
And so there was this pattern in your life of your faith was always there when you needed it. And so you spent time in church, out of church at different times of your life before going into prison. And then in prison, you had to be in the closet. And you found your faith again in that space. Coming out of prison, do you think that your faith was different by that stage to the younger Ben pre coming out Ben, your first coming out? Was your faith different post prison Ben?
Yeah.
Before coming out a second time?
Yes, it was different.
Was it more liberal? Was it?
I think a lot of it was the same, right? So there was good foundations there. There was good, and I think a lot of the things that I believed from before were still there. Mm-hmm. And I think I realized, and I was willing to go back into the closet again, and adopt those, or try again. Let's do take 2 on the whole suppression and believing that God had a plan for my life, and that was to be married to a woman and have children. And so it was almost like readopting those beliefs again, or going back into those.
So it sort of just did a full 180 basically.
Basically.
Okay.
And it was weird because it had this mix of fresh optimism and hope, and like I'd be given the second chance.
Yeah.
And like my thoughts on my own freedom and the way that and quality time with friends, family, like all of that sort of thing was all heightened now, right? And so and my focus had shifted because my attitude and my behavior and my way of life had changed. I wasn't out partying all the time. I was, being responsible, getting a job, being an adult, doing all of those things, but also leaning back into what it meant for me to be part of a faith community again.
Yeah.
So I think, a lot of it was the same in terms of the foundations that were there. It was different because of what prison had taught me. And 2, it was different because of some of the experiences that I had in prison. Do you know what I mean? And for God to meet me where I was in that place, like there was some really powerful moments that I took with me as well. So that's probably how it changed it. I guess it was where my journey with gratitude really started.
Okay.
Like super grateful for the opportunity that I had to turn my life around. And that's such a huge foundational principle for my life now.
So you still believed, obviously, because you went back into the closet and you stayed in the closet after coming out of prison again. So you still believe that your sexuality was wrong.
Yeah.
You relearnt that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. I still didn't have anyone to tell me anything different and didn't have the courage to be able to explore it on my own at that stage. So it was easier for me to just go, you know what, I need to prove to the people around me, especially my friends and family, that I'm worthy of the second chance. So it's easier if I believe what they believe, and easier if I fit in, and easier if I go back to, because then I'll get acceptance, I'll get love and support and all of that. That was a lot of what was driving my thoughts at the time.
Man. That whole out in, does that still, like, do you still feel like that happens in a way? Like I've found since coming out that I've had moments where, like when I first came out, I was like adamant that I was still going to be exactly the same person and exactly the same Christian. I'm just gay. Like that's the only difference. The deconstruction started for me, and I feel like I went further and further away from what I was raised on as the evangelical Christian.
Sure.
And there were times where I'd swing back almost in this, it was almost like knee-jerk reaction just to go back because it was too much. And that sort of has slowed down for me now, but has that happened for you as well over time? That swing?
I don't know if there's been a swing. I think I've just gone further and further and further out there into the what I would call like a liberated version of where I am now.
Yeah, okay.
So experiencing life as a gay man and moving closer to the gay community and away from the Christian community. So faith and spirituality is a sidetrack at this point, right?
Yes.
So that's still happening. But I think for me, it was more about coming into a community that I had kept at arm's length, probably more than arm's length for a long time.
Yeah.
So it was more about just getting like, and baby steps, you know, dip your toe in, ankle, knee, waist deep, you know, like it was definitely a process, but I feel like I've just been wading out further and further to the point now where I'm just swimming freely in the ocean now.
Yeah.
And that feels amazing. I don't think I've never had that pull to go back and be like, oh, I can still be part of the church, or I can still, do you know what I mean? I've not had that.
Yep.
And it was only really after speaking to people like Marcy and Beth, and to Matt Glover and others, to just be like, wow, there are some powerful allies out there, Anthony and others, you know, that I'm like, there are safe spaces for us out there.
Yeah.
And church just hasn't been on my radar, I think, for a long time. But now I'm like, you know what? I think I'm ready to walk back through the doors.
Oof. There you go. I have part of my bouncing, or the whatever you want to call it, the waves of faith were some of my like moments where I'm most anxious or something like that, or there's some sort of down moment where I'm like, oh, I'm going to hell. Like I'm just triggered by it for some reason. Yeah, there's just like this moment where I think, I'm going to hell. And then there's this fear. And then I'm like, hang on, take a step back for a second.
Yeah.
What do you actually believe these days? Like you're no longer 25-year-old Aaron or 30-year-old Aaron pastoring an evangelical conservative church.
Yeah.
You've moved past all of that. You've got to wait. Your formation is so different now.
Sure. But the programming.
Oh, it is so strong.
Yeah.
And sometimes this virus comes in, you go back to an old version almost. You can Control-Alt-Delete.
Reset, turn it off and turn it back on again.
You know when your computer's just going too slow because you haven't restarted it for ages, you've just been closing the lid? That's what I think happens to me sometimes. I just end up slow and I remember.
And then you're like, just remind yourself and be like, actually, no, that's not what I believe now.
Yeah.
Aaron, if you had your time again, what would you have done differently as a pastor And what are the things that you were happy with that you wouldn't take back?
I sort of answered the question about what would I do differently. There's some other things I would do differently probably. But what wouldn't I take back? I think the one thing I was known for by our church, by people, was that I was a safe place for them. And no matter who they were, I believed that everyone deserved love and grace. And like our church that we planted was Fresh Church, and the slogan was everyone deserves a fresh start. And we had some people in our church who, like if they're listening to this, they would know I'm talking about them right now, but they needed some extra grace. And some people weren't willing to give it to them.
Right.
But they knew that Pastor Aaron would give it to them. And I would never take that back. Even to the point that like there are some people not in church today because they haven't been able to find that grace again. And we were able to do that without being liberal Christians, right? We were evangelical conservative church, charismatic conservative Pentecostal church, but we were able to walk really closely with people from all different walks of life. And I constantly said when I was in that world that you're either moving towards Jesus or away from Jesus. And so if someone's choosing to walk through our front doors, they're obviously walking towards Jesus. They're welcome. They're able to be here, which rubbed some people up the wrong way, but I wouldn't change that.
Do you feel like you extended that grace because deep down you knew that you needed that grace?
Maybe there was a bit of longing that if something ever happened, but I was so adamant that was never going to happen. Like I never thought I was coming out, right? Like I didn't ever think that was going to be a thing. Like if young Aaron could see me now, I don't know I think he'd freak out. Like you're an idiot.
What?
What are you doing? Yeah. What would I change? I think I would look into sexuality a lot earlier. I don't know if it would be different now. Like I often wonder if I had have done it earlier, would my theology have changed in such a way that maybe I would have, before we planted our church, would I have planted an independent church? Would we have a church that was like Hillsong but gay, affirming? Like would we have that? We'll never know. So maybe that's what I would have changed. Yeah.
Right. I think it was Beth that painted that mentioned, when we just accept what we've been taught over the years, So interesting for you to go, well, I'd do sexuality, I'd look into sexuality earlier because at the time we were just like, well, this is what we've been taught. And we just go, well, other people have looked into it, which they hadn't. No. They just passed down what they'd been taught.
But we do that in every walk of life, right?
Sure.
Like I'm thinking about just recent news events that have happened and how quick people are to jump on the first thing they see and believe any narrative that they see in social media. We are quick to just believe, and we're very gullible as a human race. It's like the percentage of people that actually question what they see and hear is so small. And I wish that I was taught to question everything younger. That would be my sermon. Thomas,
question everything.
Doubting Thomas.
Be more like Thomas.
That was one of my one of the last sermon series I did was about doubt and how it's okay to have doubt, because I knew what I was thinking and feeling at this stage. And so I was trying to prepare my people that it's okay to question. And so one of the things was question everything. And Doubting Thomas, he gets such a bad rap because we labeled him Doubting Thomas. Like that's the first thing. We've given him a name, a label, and it sounds negative, but Jesus praised him because he was doubting.
Yeah.
And all of the other disciples doubted just as much. They just didn't ask Jesus, prove it. Like, show me those scars. Like, until I see him,
Sure.
I'm not going to believe.
Yeah.
He just showed that he had critical thinking.
And the courage to ask.
Yeah. Whereas the other disciples, they wouldn't have believed that Jesus was alive until they saw it for themselves either. Peter ran to the tomb. Like, if you think about it,
Yeah.
they all saw something that made them believe that he'd risen again. Thomas was like, well, I'm not going to take your word for it until I see him in the flesh. I'm not going to believe it. And so I preached that sermon and I think I just turn it up a notch now. But yeah, I think that's the real thing. Critical thinking is so important.
Yes.
And not just taking everything you're handed.
Question at all.
How did you handle grief of losing parts of your old life when you came out? Were there parts of your old life that you've grieved?
Definitely. Yeah. I think the connection to community and belonging, some of the friendships that I had, definitely grieved those. And I looked for opportunities to escape the reality of all of that. And when I started to feel it, I would distract myself and really kind of had to, and maybe because it wasn't the right time or I wasn't ready or whatever it was, but then since then spent time in, grieving the loss of friendships, of connections, of community, all of that. I think it was important to sit in that.
Yeah.
But I think at the time, because it was all happening so quickly and it was all happening at once. And at the time I had a really beautiful partner that I was able to spend time with, and it was he lived away from, about an hour away from where I lived. So that was a really beautiful time to just go away and spend time with him. And
is this the one that was in Byron when you matched?
No.
Well, it's a different one.
This is a different one. Yeah. So that was a really beautiful time, and it distracted me and kept me away from having to face what was going on. I honestly don't think if I was in that relationship, I think it would have been very different. I would have processed it differently.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's important to sit in the grief and to process it and to move on, and just be, I'm super thankful for what I learnt, for what church and that community gave me at the time. And now that I'm on the other side and I've walked away, I think I'm healed from it now. But it was important for me to sit in it. It was also important for me to talk about it, and talk about it with professionals, and talk about it with friends, talk about it with family, talk about it with people that
talk about it with professionals.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, to have that, because they give you the tools, right? They give you tools that you just don't know about. So that was super helpful. But also loved ones in my life that I was able to share with. But then like when you meet people like us and they've been through it, and you can do and it's not reliving the trauma. It's just like, it's almost a celebration of, look at us. Look how far we've come. Yeah. And we're at the other side of it now. So yeah, it's been a freaking journey. But on the healing side of it all now.
Yeah. I think the grief thing for me, the friendships thing was a huge thing. And I think that as well came in waves, that grief of losing friends that you didn't expect to lose. So there were some that I knew, these people are going to not want anything to do with me. But then I was like, there's a couple of my friends, they're a little bit more liberal. And then there was the surprising ones who I thought would go the other way that were still around. And so that's another thing that you have to figure out, how do I deal with this? Because I didn't want these people to stick around necessarily. Like I wanted these ones to stick around and they didn't. That's grieving that was tricky and confusing and weird. And I think as well, like I still do. If I hear a worship song, I grieve that like I just loved music and worship and singing with groups of people. And I think that's why I love musical theatre so much. There's some aspect of that, singing with people still.
I'm still there.
Yeah.
Do you not listen to worship music now?
not actively.
Okay.
I used to be like so up to date with like worship songs that were released. Every new song, I knew it.
Yeah.
Elevation
Every
worship.
album.
Every album. I had them
Yeah.
in my like
Bethel.
ready to go. So
all
the
of it.
day they were released,
Yeah.
I was receiving. Right? Whatever they had. And now, like sometimes social media, now, especially now that we're doing Queerfully Made, I start getting Christian content again. I'd avoided
The algos.
I'd
The
avoided
algos are onto
Christian
you.
content in my algorithm
Can't hide Aaron.
for the last 2 years, I think. I've just like, it just hasn't been fed to me. Starting Queerfully Made, starting to get church stuff again, which sort of been nice. But there's some really good stuff out there.
There's some really good stuff.
There's a really good worship song. I was like, I don't even know who it's by, but it's come up a couple of times. Like, oh, this
is
has a good beat.
good.
Like this is it's taking me places. So yeah, I missed that. And I was laughing with Beth because she's a worship leader.
Yeah.
And back in the days when I ran Youth Alive, I had their youth band come and play at our Youth Alive event, and she led the worship.
Get out.
And I remember like when she arrived, giving her a hug. Thanks so much for coming. And it's all come back to me while we were interviewing her. I was like, she sang Fearless. I remember Fearless. I
That's
remember getting them
crazy.
in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I miss. I've grieved a lot
A lot.
of worship.
Do you know what a song that, because I still listen to worship music, but one that came
Oh,
up.
you still?
I still do. Yeah. And it's only been in the last probably 12 months that I've really started listening again.
Okay.
But I was in a breathwork workshop recently.
Breathwork.
Breathwork. It sounds
God,
crazy.
I need you to take me back.
It is. It is
What do you
very, very. It is kind of like this meditation, but they take you through a different way to breathe. Not so much that style, but there are different techniques, and it's incredibly therapeutic.
Okay.
I can highly recommend it. But we were in this longer session. I was in a workshop that went for 4 hours, and at the end of it, there was an hour-long session, and they play music, and you're lying on these mats in the darker room, and the music is playing, and you're encouraged to do this particular style of breathing. Third song in, Oceans plays, and I'm like, and because you're in this like kind of meditative, almost trance-like state, I'm like, is everyone else hearing that song, or is this some sort of like church trauma that I'm being healed from? I almost wanted to get up and be like, can everyone else hear Oceans? Like, is it just me?
Is this just? Am I imagining this?
What the heck? And then after the session, one of the other ladies came up to one of the facilitators and said, hey, could you share the playlist with us? Like, it was so great. I loved all the songs on there. And there was one song in there in particular that was about like walking on water or being on the water or something.
Caught me out on the water.
That's it. And straight away I knew the one she was talking about. And I was like, oh, I said, it's called Oceans.
In brackets, where feet may fail.
For what?
It's Oceans. in
Where feet may
brackets,
fail.
Where feet may fail.
That's right.
I always thought that was a weird choice.
Just
Just call it Oceans.
Exactly. Just call it Oceans. Everyone knows it as that.
I think they thought it was a bit too
How do we make
new age.
How do we make it cooler? But then, and she said, "Oh, Oceans," and I was like, "Yeah." She said, "Who sings it? Do you know who sings it?" And I was like, I hesitated. I'm like, I was like,
Well, a
Hillsong.
number of people sing it now.
I was like, it's Hillsong or Hillsong United, and the other person beside her was like, "Oh." And I was like, just look past all of the controversy, look past all of what's happened, and just appreciate the fact that they've released some really beautiful music.
Oh, they have.
And this is one of those songs. So please go and check it out. But yeah, I thought that was so funny how that song came up in a very secular setting.
Yeah, grief. The grief thing is, it's an interesting journey, but it's beautiful at the same time.
It is. There's beauty on the other side.
That healing through the grief. Yeah, I'm constantly talking with people who are going through similar journeys to what we've been through. They're just a year or two behind us. And I think it's time for me to delete some people on social media phase some of them are going through right now.
Oh, how good. That's
and
a
I
great
remember
phase.
that phase. Like, they're like, it's triggering me to see some of the content that's being shared by these people. And I'm like, yep, I remember that. But it really hurts to let go of them. I'm like, yep, I remember that. But hey, you're stepping into a community of people who love you. And
Yes.
like you've got, and that's what they're going through at the moment, this grief, but excitement. And it's this whole healing journey.
Oh, absolutely. Letting go of what was, but haven't fully emerged or immersed yourself in this new community.
Yeah.
Oh,
And for some of them, it's
the
too
journey.
hard to fully immerse right now.
Sure.
For lots of different reasons.
Yeah.
And so it just makes that grieving process a little bit harder and longer. I
Mm.
think. Mm,
Oh, I mean, timing's everything. Do it in your own time.
that's it.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's your question.
How did you rebuild a spirituality that felt genuine and not forced?
I think at the start it definitely was forced.
Mm.
I kept the Pentecostal evangelical world, I think, is very much about keeping up appearances. Every pastor's conference, it's, how many people do you have at your church? Like it's all social media reel. Like it's the highlights reel is what matters, right?
Yeah.
And it's all very, a lot of the time, surface level stuff. Like the real stuff down below is only what you get into with the close knit group of pastors that you're friends with. But there's some bad habits you learn along the way in that world, I think. And one of them was that keeping up appearances. So when I first came out, I wrote this post with my ex-wife that was, I still love God, I still love the church,
Right.
and I still love my wife and son. And there was a paragraph under each of those headings that talked about, I still love Jesus and he's number one, and I'm still the same person. And I felt like I had to keep that up. And so while I'd deconstructed this thing about my sexuality, like I'd pulled this thread on the tapestry that was my life and my faith.
Sure.
I pulled this thread and it all started to unravel, and there was this chink in the beautiful tapestry. I felt like I couldn't pull on it any harder because what will people think? They're already thinking so badly about me right now. Like if I pull harder and I deconstruct more,
This will make it worse.
this will make it worse.
Right.
And so for a while I was forcing myself to stay in this little bubble in a way. And then I realized that wasn't helping me to go through that process of grief and that healing journey, because there were so many questions that I was pushing back and pushing under the carpet. And so I finally just let myself tug that loose thread and the whole tapestry fell apart. And then I was saying to people, I was still keeping up appearances. I was saying, I'm deconstructing, but my goal is that once I've deconstructed, I'm going to reconstruct.
Right.
So I don't want to be one of those people who deconstruct and it's just a mess. And I don't reconstruct. I as a pastor, I always spoke badly about those people, blah, blah, blah. And pastors do. They talk badly about the deconstruction world because they're threatened by it.
Sure. Yeah.
And so for me, in this keeping up appearances phase, I was like, okay, well, now I've taken this step to deconstructing, but I promise I'm going to reconstruct. And so it was forced the whole way along for ages. I was just forcing myself into this weird narrative until I finally just realized in this deconstruction phase, I can't reconstruct it the way they all want me to.
Right.
Like I can't reconstruct the way any of them would want me to, because it's not going to be authentic. It's not going to be real. And so I lived with that mess for ages. I ignored it. I just let it sit there.
Right.
And I went and lived my life of like, just, I don't care about it. If I die tomorrow, I probably will go to hell. Like if I got hit by a truck or a bus, like, and I'd say that to myself. I'm like, you know what? Old me would say, if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, I'm going to hell.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready to pick it up. I'm not ready to deal with it. And if God's real, I'm pretty sure his grace is big enough to let me sit in this for a bit. And
Yes.
that's where I was at. I'm like, if you're real, God,
Yeah.
and you really give two shits about me,
Yeah.
you'll let me sit in this mess for a bit.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm broken and confused. And so a little bit like Job, I guess. Like, you know, and so, yeah, just went through them, left the mess for ages.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, started to then look at what are other religions saying. Like that's what my reconstruction looked like. It wasn't picking up the Bible again and making sense of the Christian Bible. It was finding out about other cultures, other religions, and what are their stories all about. Because I knew what the Christian story was.
Yeah.
And I wasn't looking at other religions trying to find the next thing. Like I wasn't going, can I become a Buddhist today?
Sure.
Can I become a Hindu? Like Muslim today? Like Islam.
What am I today?
Yeah. I wasn't trying to get converted. I just wanted to make sense of what do they all say. When I found that a lot of them had the same narratives and the same characters, just with different names, I got to this point where I now would describe myself as a Christian universalist.
Right.
I found God, the higher power, which I believe is love,
Sure.
through Jesus. And Jesus said, God is love. And I think if you flip it, love is God. So that's where I've landed. Still an evolving process of this faith that I have.
And so it should be. It's not a set and forget.
No.
And I think same. I'm in the same place.
Yeah.
My view of it, and I think I said this in my episode too, has just broadened. And I've gone, oh my gosh, and just seen how much is out there. And I've gone, oh, I can experience that in that way too.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to lean into some of that stuff because if that's going to help me experience spirituality in a different way or experiencing God love in a different way, then bring it on.
Yeah.
Like if it's got, and I think too, don't you find that like you've got the spiritual discernment
Yes.
to know what to lean into and
what is good, what is a bit off,
Yeah, what
what's
feels a bit
evil,
off.
what's, yes.
100%.
Yeah.
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 But I've gone, you know, I've gone to tarot readings. I've had, you know,
No, I'm joking.
I know.
Yeah.
But again, you know, I think there was a blessing of light in the first one, which just put my mind at ease even further, you know, because I was like, yes, because that's the kind of, I still had that, I need the hedge of protection, you know, to stop, you know, any kind of.
Well, I think a lot of that sort of prayer ministry stuff back in the church went into that new age, like cutting soul ties and stuff. I think it goes down that path a little bit anyway.
Sure.
I think so, just depending on where you sit in in that space.
In the space, yeah.
Wow. What an evolution we've been on. So yeah, it definitely did feel forced at the start, but when I finally let go of having to force myself or be a certain way or keep up appearances, that lifted that burden and I felt free. That was a long way to get to that spot, but yes.
Free to explore. Free to explore.
Yeah.
Go and explore it all.
We had a question from someone that asked, what advice would you give to someone who's the only queer person in their small group? So they must have a small group. I don't know much about this person, but they must have a small group of friends. What would be your advice? They're the only person who's queer or LGBTQ.
Oh, so I read it as a small group, as in like a small group of church, like a connect group.
Oh, whereas I thought of it as they've only got they must be from like a small community or like they're in a small church. That's what I imagined.
Right. Well, either way.
Either way.
Either way, I think, you know, you and I have both talked about people that are in this situation and in this, I don't want to say category, but, you know, our heart obviously breaks for them because we've been there. Yeah. And I think I would say.
And we know the heartache.
Oh, yeah. And the stress of it all. And I think I would say, first of all, just be kind to yourself, you know, and make sure that you are, that you're filling yourself up with good things and leaning into love and light and support where you can. So be kind to yourself, whatever that looks like for you.
Yep.
That's like, I think that would be first and foremost. And there's a whole episode that we could do on all of the other advice that we would give on if you're at this stage, it would be this. If you're
Yep.
at this stage, like, and look at this and this, and we will talk about that one day.
Yeah. And I think as more guests come on, that'll get talked about. Anyway.
100%. Yeah.
Through lived experiences of different people and how they navigated it.
Exactly. But I think being kind to yourself too allows you to then step out and start to explore. And you look for the voices or examples, or you look for communities. Are they out there? You know, you can often be in that Christian bubble that's so tight, you're just blind to anything else that's going on in the world.
Yeah.
So I think opening yourself up to all of that and going, oh, well, what else is out there? Like, let me lean into curiosity and let me explore and see what's out there. And I might find a podcast.
Yeah.
I might find a book. I might find
This
someone
person
that's
found
been
a podcast.
This person found a podcast, exactly. And we're so happy that they did.
Yeah.
And it's people like this that I think, you know, this is really why this podcast exists.
Yes.
You know, and it's great that other people are listening, and we're, you know, it is, if you're here and you're listening, you're welcome. We love that you're here. But there's this audience that I've often thought of as almost like the silent audience.
Yeah.
That we might not ever hear from them. And that's okay. I think if they have heard us once or hear us a number of times and are listening in secret, that's totally fine.
Yep. You're allowed to listen in secret.
You're allowed to listen in secret.
The amount of articles of Anthony Van Browns I read in secret.
In secret.
Yep.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. I think the advice I would give is that the people that mind don't matter, and the people that matter don't mind.
Sure.
When you are in that small circle, you think that that's all that matters. And their opinion is all that matters. Their thoughts on you are all that matters. And you feel very isolated and alone. But knowing that there are other people who have been there and done that, like two people right here speaking into these microphones have been there, done that.
Yeah.
We have walked that path, and there are hundreds of others that have walked the path. Some have landed on their feet. Some sadly have not, because they didn't have the support of the community they needed. And so my piece of advice would be find people that will love you for you.
Yeah.
And that, because those people, the people who don't mind that you are queer or anywhere on the rainbow alphabet, those people who don't mind, they matter most.
Yeah.
They're the ones you want in your corner. They're the ones you want in
Absolutely.
your circle.
Yeah.
The people that mind, they don't matter.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned. Like, all the people that I was saying before I grieved that were no longer in my life, they don't matter to me anymore. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think, like, I look back at my wedding and the amount of people that were there, and like all the different events in my life that I have not seen or heard from a number of those people since before I came out.
Yeah. Wow.
And obviously this must be so big, so terrible that it matters so much to them. And so then for me, I'm like, you know what? They don't matter.
They don't matter. Yeah.
Because they mind too much
Too
about
much.
my sexuality,
Sure.
about this small part of who I am. It's not everything. And so, yeah, I think finding the people that don't mind, finding your
that.
people who will love you no matter what,
Yeah.
and be in your corner, who will be there with you until the day you die.
Yeah.
Church circles, I find, are often put together, and you would never really be friends with them outside of church. Oftentimes, you're put in a small group with people just because of your postcode or your age bracket or your gender.
Yes.
It's either a men's group, an area code, like, and you would never be friends with those people outside of it. And that's why, as soon as I came out, they all disappeared, because we're not real friends. We're
Don't
church
have anything
friends.
in common.
Yeah.
Outside of church.
And it's why the chats over coffee before and after the service are often really surface level, because they're not real friends at the end of the day. And so, find the people that are real friends, that will ask the hard questions, that will do life with you
Yes.
really well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, plenty more advice to share
Yeah.
over the coming episodes with more guests and more
Yep.
chats with us. And
And look, you might have asked a question that we haven't got to today.
yeah,
We will get to them. There were some questions that came in around theology,
yes.
especially around the clobber passages or the 6 verses in the Bible that talk about sexuality. And we will come back to those. We're going to do a whole episode on the clobber passages. So we thought we're not going to half-ass it today and give you a really quick answer. So if your question wasn't answered today, it's because there's going to be an episode coming up where we will talk about it in greater detail.
Yeah.
So
And plan to get guests on to talk about theology and
yeah,
their
absolutely.
beliefs and how that's changed over the years. So lots more to come.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in
Yeah.
and asking us some of the hard questions.
The hard-hitting questions.
And we'll see you next time on Queerfully Made.
See you soon.